Our next honoree walked into P.J. McIntyre's pub and he ordered martini after martini. His name is Dan Coughlin. But each time he got the martini, took the olive out of the martini and he put it in a jar. And the jar was filled with olives, all the drinks. He had quite a number of drinks. He started to leave. The fellow beside him at the bar, he says, "Hey, what was that all about?" He says, "Well, my wife, Maddie, sent me for a jar of olives." Isn't that really him? Well, it's not surprising that it took 2 years and 2 books to document the 48 years that Dan Coughlin has spent as a writer, as a radio and television sportscaster. There are almost as many stories about Dan as there are about the characters in the books. But let it be known that Junior O'Malley, one of his favorites, is long gone from this earth. But he is going to be inspiring Dan here tonight, and I hope he doesn't keep us till midnight. Dan, where are you?
Jerry, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Well, like President Barack Obama, I'm looking for the teleprompter. I made a couple of notes. This is a momentous day for Catholics. The Pope retired today. That leaves a lot of room under the salary cap now. We could perhaps hire another bishop. Just saying. Well, on behalf of the entire Coughlin family, I would like to thank the Academy for this wonderful award. So many people to thank, my bartender, my bookie. And it's a special honor because of the distinguished company I'm keeping tonight. Ursuline's sister, Susan Durkin, Sherwin-Williams CEO, Chris Connor, and the Honorable Richard J. McMonagle. I want to add my congratulations to them. And I feel a close affinity to Ursuline College. My sister Kathy went there. My mother was on the Mothers Club board for years. And over the last 4 years, Chris Connor has taken Sherwin-Williams stock from 40 to 160. I was smart enough not to buy any. And I haven't seen this many Irish lawyers in one place since Moriarty's after the St. Patrick's Day parade. Now they think that Judge McMonagle is going to take attendance. He is not. But the feds are. Now, speaking of the feds, my children wonder if now that they've settled the DeMora and Russo cases, maybe they should take a look at the selection process here tonight. What am I doing here? And speaking of my family, they're over there. The last 2 tables there, if they were any farther away, they'd be in the kitchen. Manny would be totally lost in there. Does this mean I went too far? I was going to mention all of my wife and children by name, but frankly, and my cousins, but frankly, there are so many. And you look at the West Side Irish, you know, we're like West Virginia. We're all related and we're marrying each other. My cousin Eileen was the first to say that, you know, we're only about 1 generation away from turning out kids with 1 eye right here. My dear friend John Pellich and his wife Jane are there. That was nice. He's not even related to me, and he paid $150 for food. He should be Irish. Now there's an old expression. If you want to give God a good laugh, tell him your plans. can't wait to change them. He's up there laughing his rear end off. That's why I think that we're like corks bobbing on the ocean. You never know what beach you're going to get washed up on. I've landed on a few. And it's been one lucky beach after another. As Sammy Sneed said, I'd rather be lucky than good. I had a job interview with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. In 1963, was going to become a general assignment reporter for them. I was getting out of the Army after 2 years with the 1st Armored Division, wrote letters to a bunch of newspapers, get back in the newspaper game. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch invited me in for an interview. Stopped in there the day after I was discharged from the Army on my way home from Texas to Cleveland. And my interview was 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, November 22nd, 1963. Drove through Dallas the night before. And naturally, all interviews were canceled, so I flew on home. Sunday morning, after the 12 o'clock Mass at St. Clement's, ran into Ralph Novak. His son Neil was here tonight, Deacon Neil Novak. Anyway, his father, Ralph, was head of Catholic Charities at the time and was an old newspaper man. And he knew everything that was still going on, and he said, the Plain Dealer is going to have an opening in the sports department. He said, I'll call Gordon Kovaldick, who was the sports editor then. He did. Monday morning, I called Cobby. He invited me down for an interview. I got the job. They're still waiting for me to call them back in St. Louis. But then I met Maddie in McGorry's funeral home. Now this proves a point I've always maintained. The funeral homes are much better places for singles to meet than bars. They're well lit. Everybody's clean and dressed up and on their best behavior, trying to make a good first impression. So I meet Maddie and we get married, and by the way, Mary Sue McGorry, she still thinks that she's got a hold on me. She wants the rest of my business. Every time I run into her, she takes my hand and she's really trying to take my pulse. I tell her, be patient. So we started having a bunch of kids. We needed a bigger house. Along came the Cleveland Press with an offer I couldn't refuse. Signed up with the Cleveland Press. They put us in a nice big house on Lake Avenue in Lakewood. 10 weeks later, the press went out of business. Then got washed up on the shores of Channel 8. And I've been there 30 years, where I met and worked with some wonderful people. John Tellage, whom I mentioned before. People ask me about the fascinating people that you worked with. How old is Wilma Smith? Which part? Oh, by the way, Billy Muhammad from Channel 8 is recording all of this. Not that part, Billy. They ask, is Dick Goddard ever going to retire? Well, according to the Mayan calendar, retire. He died 5 years ago. Well, I don't know if I lost my place here or not. Well, oh, I see why I lost my place. I'm done. Anyway, before anybody dies of boredom, I'm going to sign off. Once again, my heartfelt gratitude to Margaret Lynch and the Irish Archives for this very prestigious honor. You've given this old-timer a great last hurrah. Thanks.